They might get as much as a decade of life. However, it's not just how many years you live, it's the fact that you're going to live in a more healthful way.
Industrial crops and industrial meat also use vast amounts of hormones, pesticides, and antibiotics. These chemicals cause disease and antibiotic resistance in humans.
80% of the antibiotics that are produced in America go not to human beings. They're going to farms. And it's destroying a critical medical tool.
Reducing meat consumption would also allow us to reforest millions of acres around the world that are now being used to raise and feed animals.
The good news is that there's a way out of this. We start sucking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere as degraded lands return to forest. It's hard to hold these forests back. It's huge.
Food and agriculture are a big part of the problem, but they have the potential to be a big part of the solution.
Farmers all over the world are developing healthier ways of growing crops that store carbon in the soil and help reverse climate change.
We tried to design the farm where instead of making one large field of one thing, we've tried to make it kind of an interesting ecology, something that has smaller fields, flowers. We have a succession of crops that are coming in. They're picking squash out here and cucumbers, and there's going to be pumpkins in the back there. For our crew, about 50 of them have full-time employment here. And we have to make a place where they can have secure lives, so their kids can go to school, they can think about college, they don't have to think about moving someplace to get to the next job. And they're growing old with us, so. Crops will have insects that can become a problem, but there's a whole army of beneficial insects, natural enemies to those, and suddenly you have insect control right in your field. They're doing work that might otherwise be something you pay attention to with a pesticide. In the end, we have plants that are really vibrant, healthy, and they resist diseases, and they resist insect attacks when they're healthy.
We used to think it took eons to build 1 inch or 2 inches of topsoil. But in fact, I can point you to farmers who in their lifetime have built several inches of topsoil where it didn't exist before. And that soil is, of course, carbon taken out of the air.
So we're building carbon, we're building organic matter in our ground, and still we're growing beautiful economic crops. This is really basic stuff, but it is the piece that will unlock the ideas of how agriculture does better for in terms of climate change and soil life and healthier plants and healthier production.
It's time to celebrate innovation that is big scale and could bubble up into a global solution. California is right at the helm.
There's a sensitivity to the natural environment. It's in the air I breathe, it's the people I meet.
In 2006, California enacted comprehensive legislation to address climate change.
There was a political coalition between environmentalists who cared about climate change, people who were concerned with health, and fiscal conservatives who were just looking for a way to save money for the cities.
California requires that electrical generation be derived from renewable sources for 1/3 of the supply. And that's got to be achieved by 2020. In 2014, California is already better than 22%.
33% is already looking like a floor, not a ceiling. We have not had any power plants burning coal for years.
Carbon has a price. Those who pollute have to buy credits. And those credits then generate funds to invest in sustainable practices.
By 2020, we need to have 1 million solar rooftops, and we need to have 1 million electric vehicles on the road.
We have